Welcome to This Explainer. Let's jump right in. Today, we're going to uncover exactly why you might be making, well, totally irrational financial choices, and more importantly, how you can finally take back control of your wallet. If you've ever sat there wondering why money stresses you out so much, or why you keep repeating the exact same financial mistakes, you are absolutely in the right place.
Seriously, think about a time you bought something you actively disliked. Maybe it was an overpriced gadget that just gathers dust, or a piece of clothing you literally never wore. Ask yourself right now, was that choice truly yours? Or was it kind of programmed into you a long time ago? It really forces us to confront the reality that our daily financial choices might not be nearly as independent as we'd like to believe.
So, here is our roadmap for this diagnostic journey. First, we're looking at the invisible operating system. Then, mental accounting and biases, followed by your childhood money scripts. After that, we'll cover dangerous money disorders and finally, rewriting your financial future.
All right, part 1, the invisible operating system and where it all begins.
To really understand our adult financial symptoms, we have to look way back at the subconscious software running in the background of our minds. You see, your money mindset is exactly like a computer operating system that was installed by your parents and your environment before you even started school. Research actually shows that by the time you were just 7 years old, your core beliefs about money were already locked in. Wild, right? Every single financial decision you make today, saving, spending, investing, is running right on top of this invisible, deeply ingrained software.
Take Jasmine, for example. She's a therapy client who suddenly realized she was constantly buying cheap, ugly shoes she absolutely hated. Why? Simply because she had internalized her mother's extreme frugality. She literally felt she didn't deserve nice things. It's a perfect, real-world example of how a childhood blueprint drives a highly irrational adult behavior.
Moving on to part 2, mental accounting and biases, the glitches in our system.
These little glitches cause us to systematically violate basic economics by assigning a totally subjective value to our money, depending entirely on where it came from or how we intend to use it. Look, in economics, a dollar is a dollar, right? It's fungible. But in our minds, we categorize money into separate, highly emotional buckets. And this is exactly what we call mental accounting.
For example, look at how we treat different types of income. We will aggressively budget our unhappy money, that hard-earned paycheck from our 9-to-5, but if we find a crisp $100 bill on the sidewalk or get a surprise tax refund, suddenly it's happy money. We'll go blow it on a fancy luxury dinner without a second thought because we mislabel it as free money, completely tossing our usual frugal rules right out the window.
And this mental accounting totally fuels something called the sunk cost fallacy. Imagine this. You prepaid $100 for a concert ticket, but a massive, dangerous blizzard hits on the night of the show. So many people will actually force themselves to drive through that terrifying blizzard just because they prepaid that $100 and feel they absolutely have to balance that mental account. Even though the cash is already gone, staying home just feels like closing the account with a negative balance. It makes no logical sense.
Our perception of a good deal is incredibly biased, too. There's this famous 1985 study where thirsty beachgoers were willing to pay nearly twice as much for the exact same beer if they were told it came from a fancy resort hotel rather than a rundown local grocery store. The objective value of the beer didn't change at all, but the transactional utility, basically our expectation of the price in a specific context, completely altered their judgment.
Which brings us to part 3, your childhood money scripts, the deep programming.
Let's shift gears to the deep-rooted psychology dictating these exact behaviors. What exactly is a money script? Well, these scripts are underlying unconscious assumptions about money that are often passed down generationally. They usually stem from early life financial flashpoints, which are basically powerful emotional events involving money. And the real danger here is that these scripts are usually only partially true, yet they completely, totally dictate our adult financial reality.
Financial psychologists have actually nailed this down to 4 distinct patterns. Now, money vigilance, being frugal and savings-focused, is generally a healthy thing, but the other 3, they lead straight to destructive behaviors. Money worship tells you money buys happiness. Money status convinces you that your self-worth literally equals your net worth, which leads to dangerous overspending. And money avoidance? That's the belief that money is evil or taboo, which basically leads to self-sabotaging your own wealth.
A major driver of these negative scripts is simply the environment you were raised in. Kids who grew up constantly hearing there's never enough or who experience deep financial stress naturally develop a scarcity mindset. And this leads them to either hoard money out of pure fear or, ironically, spend it recklessly the second they get it before it disappears. It's two totally opposite extremes coming from the exact same root cause.
Look at that massive number 13. Research by Princeton economists showed that constant financial stress caused by scarcity thinking literally reduces your cognitive capacity by the equivalent of 13 IQ points. Just take a second to really think about that. Financial stress actually makes you less smart about money, trapping you in this brutal, vicious cycle. It's a real game changer when you realize that.
All right, part 4. Dangerous money disorders when the system crashes.
When these negative money scripts go unchecked for too long, they can manifest into clinical, highly destructive behavioral disorders. We're not just talking about bad habits here. These are enduring, self-destructive patterns. They range from compulsive hoarding out of sheer fear to pathological gambling, all the way to relational disorders like financial infidelity, which is, hiding secret bank accounts or massive crushing debt from a spouse. These behaviors cause immense emotional and social anguish.
But I really want to remind you of a crucial truth here. Disordered money behaviors are adopted to cope with emotional pain. If you suffer from any of these symptoms, it is not your fault. You were just a kid who absorbed your environment as a coping mechanism. Your brain was literally just trying to keep you safe.
And finally, part 5, rewriting your financial future, the software update.
The really good news here, unlike a factory computer, you can completely uninstall these bad programs. Using cognitive behavioral therapy techniques, you can step out of the role of the passive passenger and become the active author of your own money story. It takes 4 simple steps. First, identify the problematic behavior and the physical feeling associated with it. Second, pinpoint your current money script. Third, write an alternative, healthy money script. And fourth, adopt new, adaptive behaviors. You literally get to rewrite the code.
And hey, if you're a parent, you can help your children avoid these traps entirely. Have open, candid conversations about money. Don't make it this weird, taboo subject. Choose a structured allowance system to really teach the link between effort and compensation. Encourage paid employment outside the home, and foster little entrepreneurial experiences like mowing lawns or babysitting. Teach them early on that money is simply a byproduct of providing value to others.
As we wrap up this explainer, I really want to ask you, which of those childhood money programs did you grow up with? Take a moment to reflect on your own upbringing. Identify those hidden scripts controlling your wallet and take that very first step toward rewriting your financial operating system today. You absolutely have the power to change your script. Thanks so much for joining me, and I'll see you next time.